Welcome, wrestling fans, to this episode of the Tim Reynolds Show as we're going over WWE's Monday Night Raw from this past week, and the show kicked off with none other than Rhea Ripley as she returns from her injury as she's been out for the past 3 months after her shocking return at the end of last week's show. Now, as she comes out to the ring, she goes ahead and tells us why she's so pissed off and mad because she's missed the last 3 months and she lost her world title without actually losing a match. She is so upset and then interrupted by none other than Dominic Mysterio as he comes out to try to apologize to his mommy to see if he could sort of mend things up between her with all the drama and all the stuff that's been happening between him and Liv Morgan and the Judgment Day over the past few months. So as he's out there trying to apologize to Rhea, they are both then interrupted via video screen by none other than Liv Morgan, the Women's World Champion. As she comes out and gives a little verbal back and forth between her and Rhea, we eventually see her pretty much dissing Rhea for her relationship with Dom and also trying to woo Dom, it feels like a little bit, which definitely Dominic was not a fan of. And then afterwards, we see Rhea Ripley challenge Liv Morgan to a match for the Women's World title at SummerSlam. And it has been confirmed we now have this match for SummerSlam as it will be the challenger Rhea Ripley facing off against the champion Liv Morgan for the Women's World title at SummerSlam. And then at the end of the video conference, when Liv gets off of the screen, we see then Rhea Ripley tell Liv that she will end her career at SummerSlam when they face off against each other in their match. Whew, big words from Rhea Ripley. She is not the mommy you want to piss off, as Dominic Mysterio knows this very well, as he still throughout the whole entire night is trying to apologize and get on the good side of Rhea Ripley in this one, guys. So the next one was our first matchup for the night as we had Shamus taking on Big Bronson Reed. We had a really good match back and forth between these two guys. Shamus is definitely one of my favorite guys on the whole entire roster, a redhead just like me. And we've seen him go ahead and pull off the victory against Bronson Reed in this one. A huge victory for Shamus as he tries to build momentum heading into SummerSlam. But when we seen a sneak attack coming from Bronson Reed, we seen a surprise person come in and save Shamus from this attack, which was none other than his former partner, Pete Dunne. And now Pete Dunne really did not reciprocate the same feelings back to Shamus. As Shamus went to go shake his hand and say thank you, Pete Dunne leaves the ring and didn't want anything to do with Shamus. But we also see Pete Dunne get back into the ring and attack Shamus in this one. So now we have a big trio kind of controversy thing happening here with Shamus dealing with Bronson Reed, even though he gets the victory. Now he has a former tag team partner of his going after him, probably for some beef or whatever the case may be. So we need to pay attention as we see Shamus probably more than likely having to deal with not only Pete Dunne, but Bronson Reed heading forward. And then in our next match of the night, we had Zelina Vega taking on Sonya Deville. This was Deville's first matchup back after tearing her ACL and going through rehab within the last year. So Sonya goes ahead and gets the victory in this one as she helps build momentum for her new trio group that she has. Shortly thereafter, we've seen Zoe Starks and Shayna Baszler, the other two people in the team with Sonya Deville, try to come in and attack Zelina Vega, who was then actually rescued by none other than Kaden Carter and Kanana Chance to prevent them from actually beating up Zelina. So we would see this later on as both Carter and Chance would have to take on Starks and Baszler later on in a tag team match in this Monday Night Raw. Though we also see backstage Rhea Ripley thank Damian Priest for holding down the fort there for Judgment Day and also still being World Heavyweight Champion. And then all of a sudden, of course, they're interrupted again by Dirty Dominic Mysterio as he tries to give Rhea another rose and apologize for what has happened to try to get on the good side of Mami. But again, he is given verbal abuse by Rhea because she wants nothing to do with it, asking where has he been the last 3 months and how he has not contacted her whatsoever. And man, this just cracks me up, dude, because you're seeing Dom really lose it, dude. He is not doing very, very well in this at all, man. He is looking pretty bad. And then we go on to another thing backstage as we see Sami Zayn talking to Ilya Dragunov, who actually got a number one contender titles match that night on Monday Night Raw for the Intercontinental Championship against Sami Zayn. And Zayn wants to tell Dragunov that he earned this title shot. It was not given to him just because he helped him last week against Braun Breaker. No, this was one of the biggest matches of the night as it ended up being our main event for the evening on Monday Night Raw. Sami Zayn versus Ilya Dragunov for the Intercontinental Championship. So then we move on to our next one, which we see Gable backstage talking to GM Adam Pearce, and he has announced that he knows who Uncle Howdy is, and he believes it's none other than Bo Dallas, and Gable is wanting to tell everybody about it. So Chad tells himself, hey, Chad Gable's going to go out to the ring, and he's going to go call out Bo Dallas. Yeah, good luck with that, guys, because Bo Dallas is the leader of the Wyatt Six, and we have seen over the past few weeks the Wyatt Six be crazy, brother, and I cannot wait for them to debut on Monday Night Raw. And then we've seen in our next matchup, we had a face-to-face between the World Heavyweight Champion Damian Priest and the number one contender at SummerSlam, Gunther. And this back and forth was really a good back and forth between these guys. A lot of good verbalness back and forth between one another, pretty much going at one another. And honestly, man, I really do think that this is going to be one of the best matchups at SummerSlam, as Gunther looks primed and ready to be that heel to try to take Damian Priest down and take that World Heavyweight Championship away from him. But Damian Priest is not going without a fight, as he got a big pop from the crowd during this confrontation with Gunther, and I think it's really going to be a good test for him heading forward, as he had a matchup against Braun Strowman on Monday night that's really going to help test him for the matchup against Gunther. As we see Damian Priest handle business against Braun Strowman in their matchup, we've seen Gunther return to attack Damian Priest after the matchup, and Damian Priest handled his own, as he was able to go ahead and get Gunther, attack him back, do some back and forth with each other, and then we see outside the ring as they're confronting each other, we see this match building momentum towards SummerSlam as it gets really heated between these two. In our next matchup of the night, we've seen Kiana Chance taking on Katie Carter versus Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler in a women's tag team matchup. Zoe and Shayna were able to handle this match pretty easily, as we see Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler and Sonya Deville really build momentum as the new trio, the new women's trio on Monday Night Raw, as they're looking to dominate the women's division as we head forward. And then we also seen backstage as we get further around the rabbit hole for other than Judgment Day and also Dominic Mysterio, as Jey Uso was talking some trash earlier in the day to Damian, trying to see if Mami was single, trying to get that number, saying, hey, have Mami give me a call, man. Yeet. Right? So once we seen that, Dominic Mysterio, of course, was not too happy about this, as he goes to Adam Pearce and gets a matchup against Jey Uso in Monday Night Raw, which he proceeds to go ahead and go and tell Mami about, that he got a matchup against Jey because Jey was talking trash about her. And then he proceeds to say something that he shouldn't have said. Not whatsoever. Because he had a little interaction earlier in the night with Damian Priest, you see? And Damian Priest said something along the lines of, like, you need to prove, Dom, that Mami still belongs to you, which led Dominic to go get the match against Jey Uso for the night. And as he proceeds to tell Rhea Ripley this, he says, I need to be able to prove to Jey that you still belong to me. And Rhea loses her mind. She could not believe what Dominic Mysterio said, and she looks right at him and walks the fuck out. Doesn't even say a word. Dominic is looking so bad, folks, throughout this whole entire episode. It is hilarious, and quite frankly, it brings me a lot of joy, because Dirty Dom has had this shit coming for a long time, guys. And then we see Drew McIntyre returns to Monday Night Raw as he goes into the ring to meet GM Adam Pearce. Now, he goes there to get his suspension lifted by Adam Pearce, which CM Punk requested the week before. See, we're going to be seeing this matchup between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk eventually. We just don't know when. And in this particular segment, we see Drew McIntyre being asked by Adam Pearce to apologize to the two referees that he assaulted at Money in the Bank in the post-show after he got screwed over by CM Punk. But Drew McIntyre, of course, loses his mind and does not want to apologize to anybody. He figures the GM and the referees and the WWE and CM Punk owe him an apology. So what does he do? He goes on a rampage, hits both of the referees, goes after Adam Pearce, and Adam Pearce announced that he's still suspended. So going forward, we're going to have to see next week's Monday Night Raw to see if Drew McIntyre is even back and when he will be back, and if this matchup between him and CM Punk is even going to happen. Because we're still waiting for CM Punk to get medically cleared from his elbow injury in order to see if he's going to actually make it into in-ring action by SummerSlam. But then we also seen, guys, the Wyatt Six made a huge appearance on the Pat McAfee show earlier that day. A box appeared at the Pat McAfee show, which then had a tape inside the box. Now, as Pat McAfee came to do commentary for Monday Night Raw, he gave the tape to the truck so that they could play it later in the evening. Well, we get to the point in the evening where the tape is played, and what we see is Eric Rowan reveal himself as part of the Wyatt Six. Eric Rowan is an old WWE superstar who comes back into the fold here as a member of the Wyatt Six. He proceeded to tell us the pain and the sorrow that he's going through from the loss of his two brothers, none other than former WWE superstars, Brody Lee and Bray Wyatt. He talks us through very emotionally how he's been dealing with all this and how the Wyatt Six has become his new family and welcomed him in when nobody else want him. And we've seen a huge promo in this one for the Wyatt Six as we get to see going forward this team really scare the living hell out of everybody, especially with Eric Rowan in the fold. This is a big man and a really good wrestler, so this is going to be really interesting heading forward. The next match on the ballot, we had Jey Uso taking on Dominic Mysterio, which was a really fun matchup to watch as we seen Jey and Dom going back and forth in this one, two of the most athletic guys on the roster for Monday Night Raw. But shortly thereafter, we see Liv Morgan come out and involve herself in this match, trying to get Dominic Mysterio the victory, obviously, but still involving it enough to distract Dominic Mysterio, where when Rhea Ripley came out to attack Liv Morgan and go after her, which Liv didn't stick around at all, as she runs out of the arena once again when Rhea Ripley comes out to try to confront her. And of course, with this distraction, Dominic Mysterio gets speared by Jey Uso and loses this matchup as Jey gets the victory. And not only that, he's looking right at Mami at the end of the matchup, and Jey goes, "Call me Mami." Yeah, yeet. Way to go, Jey, shooting his shot against Rhea Ripley, man. Hey, Rhea Ripley kind of smirked afterwards, too. So this might be something we need to watch out heading into next week's Monday Night Raw, if you know what I'm saying. And then we also seen Dominic trying to go right back to Mami and apologize for everything that's happened because of this. I mean, guys, we're really starting to see a younger Eddie Guerrero and Dirty Dominic Mysterio. With this particular segment we're seeing with him and Rhea Ripley, it gives me a lot of vibes from the Guerrero China storyline a long time ago. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, please look it up on YouTube or online. Eddie Guerrero is one of the best WWE superstars of all time, and the storyline with him in China back in the day was actually one of the best ones that the WWE ever did. Guerrero himself is a little bit of a romance type of guy, or at least he's really good at that on the TV with his WWE superstar ability as well. So this one is really exciting to see Dirty Dom and Rhea Ripley kind of going through this sort of similar storyline that's very entertaining and very nostalgic too as well. And then we go ahead and get into our main event of the evening. Oh, but before that, we seen Chad Gable come out to the ring. Yeah, you see, he'd been talking to Adam Pearce throughout the whole night. Also looked like for the past few weeks, we've been seeing him talking to some people in the background. And if you guys weren't familiar with that, you ought to go check out some of the episodes and interviews on Monday Night Raw for the past few weeks. So, Chad Gable comes out to the middle of the ring and calls out none other than Bo Dallas. The Uncle Howdy character that he's supposed to portray is supposed to be the leader of the Wyatt Six. So, he's calling out Bo, the leader of the Wyatt Six, to come out and confront him. Well, as Bo enters the ring, or goes to enter the ring, he gets attacked by none other than the Creed brothers. The Creed brothers have now formed an alliance with Chad Gable for this new sort of trio after the Alpha Academy with Otis and those guys decided to leave Gable, and he could not recruit them back whatsoever, because with Chad Gable's attitude, nobody wants to be around him. So he's probably having to pay these Creed brothers a lot of money to get on his side, but they sneak attack Bo Dallas, and Chad Gable also gets into the fight as these three just beat the living hell out of Bo Dallas for probably a good 5 minutes. And Dallas is laughing. Bo Dallas is just laughing and laughing and laughing. And you know something's about to happen. You know that Chad Gable and the Creed brothers have something coming after them, guys. You just know it. And of course, the lights go out, the smoke comes out, and you see Wyatt 6 make their first appearance on Monday Night Raw as 4 of these guys all in masks come out. One of them we know is Eric Rowan from the tape we seen earlier. One of the other people is wearing a really creepy, like, sort of doll mask. The other one is wearing sort of a gas mask. And man, this is just crazy to see the Wyatt 6 make their debut on Monday night. Chad Gable and the Creed brothers were scared out of their minds as they end up leaving the ring, skedaddling out, as we see the Wyatt 6 in the middle of the ring with Bo Dallas just laughing, and we see the presence of this entity, this group for the first time, and it's going to be epic going forward as we're going to see who the rest of the members are in the Wyatt 6, and we're also going to find out when we see a first match with these guys on Monday Night Raw or one of these premium live events. So for our main event of Monday Night Raw, it's Sami Zayn versus Ilya Dragunov for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, we've seen obviously a little bit back and forth between Zayn and Dragunov earlier in the night as Zayn announced that, hey, he earned this title shot. And we also seen Braun Breaker a little upset earlier in the night as he was talking to Adam Pearce about how in the hell this matchup got made. And of course, Pearce didn't like it and kicked Braun Breaker out of the building. He had security escort Braun Breaker out of the building. So, in this particular matchup, we see Sami Zayn and Dragunov really going at it, giving us a really, really good Intercontinental Championship match. But of course, it was interrupted by none other than Braun Breaker as he attacked both Sami Zayn and Ilya Dragunov. Now, because he hit Dragunov first, this means Dragunov gets the victory via disqualification against Sami Zayn in this matchup. But of course, Braun Breaker begins to just take out and beat down both of these competitors at the end of Monday Night Raw as we're starting to see maybe even a triple threat, or at least Braun try to put himself back in the conversation for the Intercontinental Championship as he takes out both of these competitors. And guys, this has been Monday Night Raw review from the Tim Reynolds Show. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much, guys, for all the support. Thank you, WWE fans. Thank you, football fans. Thank you, NASCAR fans. And thank you, sports fans around the world, as this show, the Tim Reynolds Show, brings you many more sports entertainment than you could ask for. Many more content to come. Thank you guys so much. Peace out, everybody.